things up and fan the flame. Let's fan the flame. Fan the flame. If you're sick of the status quo, give him hell and tell him where to go. If you're looking for action, call my name. And let's shake things up and fan the flame. Let's fan the flame. Fan the flame. Now if you're looking for a hell of a man with an attitude and a gun in his hand like me, then if you're looking for trouble tonight, never give up, but be willing to fight. Woo, yeah, that's right. And if you're looking for action, call my name. Let's shake things up and fan the flame. Let's fan the flame. Fan the flame. If you're sick of the status quo, give him.
Great job. Ted Nugent, where's Ted Nugent? Where's Ted? Huh? Look at you. You doing well? You are a handsome devil. Thank you. Great job, Ted. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.
And now, it's time for Ted Nugent's Spirit Campfire with John Brankus. It's the physics of spirituality with attitude.
Attitude this year. In fact, my crop of middle fingers is growing exponentially by the hour. I'm providing sanctuary from the chaos and the madness and the negative activity. Me and my sidekick, John Brankus, we got the physics of spirituality on the campfire. On this glorious, we celebrate Thanksgiving every day, by the way, but today is the 23rd of November 2020. And John, you're looking good. You must be feeling good. Nobody looks that good without feeling that good. How you doing, Frankus?
You know, I mean, listen, good is a word you use when something is not great. I look great. Let's just be real about it, all right?
You are a handsome devil. You know, I'm working on some new songs right now. I got some killer new songs.
Yeah.
And I think the next record we're going to record this winter, I got a hold of Jason Hartless, the god of thunder, slam dunk drum Motor City dog man, and Greg Smith, the last of the Funk Brothers. And I've got so many killer songs and the foundational grinding, breeding soundtrack guitar master licks that we're going to go in the studio. And John, I want you to know that even though it's I never say never. In fact, just now I'm never saying that I never say never. So that, I don't know if that's contradictory or not.
That's right.
It makes perfect sense to you. But we, at this point, we expect my next record coming out in the summer of 2021 as we make up for the lost touring of 2020. The name of my new record is Ted Nugent, Handsome Devil.
The presidential decree. I like that.
It is a decree. And by the way, I'd like to make another decree. A big thank you to everybody who's been sharing the Spirit Campfire. John, I don't know how you find these statistics, but my gut feeling is usually right on the money because I am a natural, nature-bound, biological, God-created predator. So my radar picks up on all imaginable stimuli beyond the pale. And I have a feeling that we've got more consistent campfirettes, people who enjoy the truth, logic, common sense, the goodwill, the decency, the positive energy, and the fun factor to escape the ugliest of times out there. I think we have more people that stick around for this little electronic campfires. We warm our buns and warm our hands around the campfire. I think we have more people that have always been here. So a big thank you to everybody out there that's warming up with us.
It's incredible. You know, I've been very blessed to be, on to be part of media for my entire career, and I've been on, the largest platforms in the world. It's incredible how consistent this audience has been. All of our fellow campfirers. That is actually a word. Firer is a word. So I wanted to, first of all, I want to tell everybody, thank you so much for supporting the Spirit Campfire tonight. You need to send out right now, everybody. We have thousands of people in our room. What you need to do is you need to share the link with one person tonight, right now. Just send it out and tell people to join us and let everybody share in the positive energy. Secondly, you need to give us a thumbs up and a heart or whatever, but share the link tonight. I wanted to do a quick roll call, Ted. We have Teddy from Illinois. Which is
people in Illinois.
All right, Philip from Mississippi.
Mississippi, double SSIPPI.
That's right. We've got Rhode Island in the house. I have never read off the name Rhode Island. Rhode Island is in the house tonight.
We have rocked our balls into oblivion in Rhode Island, so I know there are some real shit kickers in Rhode Island, and we welcome the Rhode Islanders to the Spirit Campfire.
That's right. Carol from Illinois is in here. We've got Andrew from Michigan.
Michiganiacs.
Michiganiac. We have Ted from Oregon.
Oregon, John, I got to tell you, the great Northwest, even though it's become pathetic when the Marxists and the traders in the great Northwest that seem to be running politics up there, when they can make it okay to buy meth but not have plastic straws. Anyhow, beyond that embarrassment,
beyond that,
I'm here to tell you, I communicate with great shit kickers in Oregon and Washington. In fact, at our Spirit Real campfires in Michigan in the last couple of months, we had great families from Washington and Oregon. In fact, I'm going to have Paul and Toby double check, but I think I shared campfires this year, John, with people from over 40 states at our little swamp and woods and farm in Michigan. So,
I think it's more than that. Yeah.
Pretty dead.
It's incredible. So, Ted, I was at a lacrosse tournament for my son this weekend in Florida, down near Tampa, And by the way, Florida can just rocks. Florida is awesome. And there are people there from the state of Washington, from Seattle, who had to fly their kids to Florida because they're not allowed to play outside. And they're looking at us, people from Georgia and Florida, and those of us who are, listen, if you need to wear a mask, wear a mask. But no one's wearing a mask down at the lacrosse tournament, and they're looking at us like our heads are screwed on backwards or something. And I'm like, well, you had to fly cross country to have your kid play outside. Things are not like they are in Washington. And it made me really want to inform everybody there is a term, gaslighting. And gaslighting, if you don't know what gaslighting is, go ahead and Google it, look up the definition of it. The amount of and misinformation that's being fed, nobody knows which way is up. All that I can tell you is around the campfire, you know exactly where you are. You know exactly where everybody stands. And we welcome all, but you're not going to be gaslit here.
You know, we believe in the First Amendment. We think the First Amendment was the first important thing that the founding fathers wrote down, because once they got rid of the king and the emperors and the dictators and the slave drivers, they knew that they had the right to speak what is on their mind, whether it's comfortable, convenient, or represents the pulse of your neighborhood. You still have the right to speak out. So we not only cherish that and execute that here at the Spirit Campfire, but we fight for it all around this country. So I want to thank everybody who has now taken up the We the People mantle. There's a whole lot of increased activism going around because they see stuff like this, John. And I'll just give the Uncle Ted overview, if I may. And November 23rd, 2020, as we're about to celebrate the real day of Thanksgiving, though I must repeat over again, we celebrate Thanksgiving every day at the Nugent household. And you can see, I'm not in Michigan. I'm back in Texas now. In fact, this is the Cuckoo's Nest Man Cave. I don't know, I think you can't see too much here because I do have my police flag. We got pictures of Fred Bear. We got a lot of bows and arrows. And by the way, I got 7 deer hanging in the cooler out there right now with my trusty Matthews bow and arrow. I've been aiming small, missing small, and really escaping the chaos. But I don't escape the chaos thoroughly because that would be irresponsible. I would almost act like a Spaniard maybe who didn't have an experiment in self-government or a Declaration of Independence or a document that guaranteed individual life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. But seeing as how I do have those foundational pillars of God's intention for us to be free, uninhibited, unencumbered, unenslaved people. Here's my take on it. I've been absorbing, searching, reviewing, masticating, and regurgitating all the evidence I can find. The election was a fraud. There were an awful lot of dead people that voted. Don't have the exact number, but there were a lot of dead people that voted. There were a lot of suspicious ballots brought in the middle of the night in giant boxes and in giant numbers that we have eyewitnesses and people who have actually signed affidavit accordingly, that these boxes came in full of thousands and thousands of ballots that were only for Joe Biden. So I could go on. I think everybody who doesn't have their head too far up their ass already knows this kind of evidence. But I am still fighting for this great president. I believe in Donald Trump, and I really don't believe in the Democrats anymore. I see what they're proposing. I see what they stand for. They're going to get us back into the Paris Accord, which means we get to pay for other people's polluting fines. They're going to get us back into the World Health Organization, which is basically an arm of the communist Chinese government. They're going to open our borders because nobody needs secure borders. That's just a silly thing that racists implement. But,
yeah.
So my point is that we're here at the Spirit Campfire, and amongst all that heartbreaking ugliness, we are going to now switch gears completely. I've got a guitar and a Fender amp and a custom amp from Calvin Ross down at Lone Star Music here in Waco. I got John Kutz and Johnny Big on standby, ready to rock our flaming balls off. I've got new licks and new songs. We got people coming in for Thanksgiving. It's a wonderful time to be alive. We have a guest tonight. We had Mitch Ryder on, one of our first guests. What a bunch of great guests we've had. And then we had Jimmy McCarty from the original Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels Band, who's my guitar impetus. And tonight we have one of the top 1% of drum gods that has ever walked the earth, and his name is Johnny Badanjek. And Johnny is the founding father of gonzo foot pedal throttle that causes you to start dancing even if you don't know how to dance. So John Badanjek will be our guest tonight, coming on shortly. And John, you've seen the quality of our guests. They're just great shit kickers. They have a great attitude, but we are going to be hard pressed. I think Johnny's a couple years older than I am. He played on my Shut Up and Jam record, and it was a dream come true for me. And he is literally inspired. He's right up there with the Carmine Appice, and he's right up there with John Bonham and Dino Dinelli of the Rascals, and Chad Smith of the Chili Peppers, and plays all the time with Sammy Hagar, and played with me over in Spain. So I know what the world's greatest musicians look, sound, and feel like. And our guest tonight, Johnny Badanjek from Detroit, is one of those gods of musical authority. So we're going to provide a sanctuary. By the way, I don't know if you've noticed, John, but Detroiters have a really funny attitude. We have a lot of fun. We'll make fun of ourselves. And Badanjek is a storytelling maniac, so he'll have a lot of things to keep us inspired tonight.
Absolutely. Ted, we have so many comments in all of our chat rooms on Facebook and on YouTube, and I want to remind everybody we are going to be off of Facebook and YouTube real fast. As soon as I get this platform up and running, by the turn of the year, we're going to be on a secured, non-censored network, and it's going to be pretty awesome. A lot of people are asking, where is all the music on the Spirit Campfire? Yeah, Ted, you were playing before the show, and I know before our guest comes on, I wanted you just to sort of crank things up, and also let's thank Patriot Mobile just for a moment, and let's get to our guest, because this is an amazing campfire tonight.
Well, all my music comes from a throttle, a Detroit Energy throttle, whether it's everything is hyper. Motor City Madhouse. Everything is throttle. But this guest tonight, Johnny Badanjek, they call him Johnny B. He taught me with his drum style to have that throttling right hand, and the song Jenny Take a Ride that I play all the time is the ultimate example and application of a pummeling downbeat. Now that Johnny Badanjek is here to listen, I am the only guitar player that can actually play that masterpiece lick like this. So every time I play stuff like that, I go, what would Johnny B do on the bass drum? So to find out, we actually have the Detroit. By the way, people think I'm the Motor City Madman. Not even close. Johnny B is the Motor City Madman. Johnny, welcome to the Spirit Campfire. Wow. You rock and roll Motor City son of a bitch.
Yeah, baby.
All right. Hey, Johnny, tilt your camera down if you can. We can barely see your head.
All right,
there you go. Tilt it down. You're there you go.
There's that handsome son of a bitch. So Johnny B, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I feel good. That was a nice intro. You had that.
Well, I believe it. I've only done 10 billion radio interviews, and I probably mention those same accolades and supreme reverence every time, because we go all the way back and try to let the Campfire bun warmers here tonight realize that you and I first encountered each other. It was real close to 1960, 61 maybe, at the Walled Lake Casino. I was just a kid, you were just a kid, but we already had this power driving, pummeling. And as a kid, I always attributed you as the inventor of that. Nobody played like that. Where the hell did you come up with this stuff?
Don Henley asked me that once too, and he'd seen us opening for the Birds down in Louisiana, and I told him, I don't know, because we were only 16, 17 years old. We just went up and played, didn't think about it, didn't analyze it, that was our thing, and that's the beat, I learned from a lot of people and just incorporated that into what I was doing, and that's what came out,
Well, there was a lot of great rock and roll drummers, but it wasn't really the kind of rock and roll that we invented in Detroit, where everything is like a little harder, a little more pummeling on the front end of the beat.
It's like Iggy says. They started out with hammers and found an old factory and were just banging on metal boilers, but it sounded good to them, so they figured maybe we should try picking up a guitar.
So when you started playing like that, were you influenced by Buddy Rich and all those famous drummers? Wipeout, that famous Wipeout drum solo. You were such a kid. That had to impress you, huh?
Gene Krupa. I used to play along to his records, and Sandy Nelson. Sandy Nelson was one of my
Let
first.
There Be Drums.
Yes, absolutely. And then most of all, the young black drummers that nobody really knew because most of the record labels wouldn't put their names on it, like a Benny Benjamin and Uriel Jones, Richard Pistol Allen from Motown, and then you had Al Jackson Jr. at Stax. You had Gary Chester in New York that played on everything, even Twist and Shout by the Isley Brothers, and all the Shrell stuff and the Ronettes, and and so I would just listen to all these guys and just learn. And then a lot of the drummers in town, Mitch had some deal with Berry Gordy's ex-wife. She started her own label, and we went down. I was like 13, 14. I brought my drum kit on Grand Boulevard, and we're in this church, and the guy said to me, "Son, don't be afraid of those drums. They're not going to bite you. Hit them. You hit them, and you hit them hard." I never forgot that, and that's the way it stayed,
Well, Johnny Badanjek, I want you to meet my sidekick, John Brankus. We started this campfire to celebrate we didn't set out to do it. Like you said, you didn't really think about the music. You just followed your instincts. When we started this campfire, we had no outline. Nobody said, geez, what are you going to talk about? What's the attitude going to be? We just started bullshitting and talking like two guys who have a quality of life shared dream. And Brankus, you have to realize what Johnny B just laid out is literally the historical foundation of all the greatest drummers that played on all the greatest songs that inspired every musician who has ever walked the earth since 1950.
And here's what's incredible to me, Johnny. First of all, obviously a huge fan, and it's hard for me to believe that you really did redefine the world of music at age 16. I mean, you're in high school. Like, what was that first gig like where you felt like you were really in a groove?
Well, we started off playing. We were playing a lot of clubs, and we played some dances because that's what they had, dances at a Catholic school.
Sock hops.
We played at the St. Rita's, and we did this thing where where Mitch pretended that he fainted, and everybody was scared. He thought like he just died on stage. And so we took off one of our shoes, and the guys were passing around and smelling it, and it was going, oh, that's terrible, terrible, and finally we put the shoe over Mitch's nose, and his right leg started shaking, and his left leg started shaking, and he started wilding all over the place like he was going through an exorcism. And then he grabbed the mic and he started singing, and all hell broke loose. And when we got done and the nuns that were all in there, they thought it was a real exorcism. They told us we're never going to play there again, ever.
Wow.
That's a great story. Now, Johnny, we had Michael Lutz from Brownsville Station, and we've had Mitch on, we had Jimmy McCarty on, we had my band on, Jason Hartless, we had Carmine Appice on, we had Mark Farner on. We had just some of the greatest musical forces in the world. And you and I have never talked about that moment of showmanship. I never talked about the inspiration for showmanship from Michael Lutz with the Brownsville Station Insanity and all these other bands. And obviously, I've done that same thing where I go into a cosmic, out-of-body experience, hit the deck, still playing my guitar, and the band drags me off by my feet. Not unlike James Brown coming back with Please, Please, Please numerous times with the cape draped over him. When you guys started doing that, there was Screamin' Jay Hawkins would start singing in a casket. I Put a Spell on You. Were you aware of those influences, or did you guys just pull this stuff out of your ass like I did?
we would watch all the black acts and the R&B acts and stuff like that, and they all had some kind of shtick they were doing on stage, and so we incorporated into the band when we were playing Wild Lake Casino. The problem is, I was just learning to play guitar. And McCarty was a drummer originally and taught himself how to play guitar. Right. So we switch off, and I play guitar. He'd go back and play the drums. Everybody was incorporated in the show except Earl Elliott, the bass player. And we told Earl, we came to him and we said, listen, Earl, you got to do something. So we're going to take the bass off you. So we're playing Wild Lake and the place is sold out. We start doing the switching, and Joe Kubert grabbed the bass, and Earl didn't know what to do, so he started grabbing Mitch's tie and pulling on it. And then the knot went into Mitch's throat, and Mitch couldn't breathe. He couldn't get in the air, and Earl just turned, and Dave Prince was standing there and going, oh my God. And so he didn't realize that Earl kept pulling it harder. Mitch's face as red as a tomato. And finally we had to pull him off him. We pulled him off him, and Mitch, we loosened his tie. He got back together, and we told Earl, just go back to playing the bass. You don't have to do anything. We'll do the maneuvering,
And then Earl Elliott, I remember when we opened up for it at the Wild Lake Casino, it was Billy Lee and the Rivieras, which was the name of Mitch Ryder before they changed their name. And it was a brand new band from Detroit known as Martha and the Vandellas and Gene Pitney. And then my band, The Lures, with John Brake and John Finley and Pete Prim and Tom Noel on drums. I mean, I remember everything. I remember Earl Elliott, the bass player, was playing a Rickenbacker through a B-18. Might have been a B-15.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
And he had black silk gloves. So there was always a showman thing going on.
He's playing for the gloves. He's playing with gloves.
I remember all that shit. I remember like it was yesterday.
Yeah, but okay, listen.
And I remember watching you. And that damn foot pedal was playing 10 times the hits of any drummer that ever played. So that's what inspired me to play the kind of music that I played. And I know you guys had an influence on everybody from Dick Wagner and the Frost to the SRC to Grand Funk Railroad to the MC5. I know you had that influence. Do you know you had that influence?
No, I didn't think, I never thought in those terms. I was just happy to be out and to go on the road. I always just wanted to go on the road. I mean, our first tour bus was a covered wagon. So, tour buses didn't exist when we started. I mean,
it was a VW bus or a Country Squire Ford station wagon.
We graduated from the covered wagon up into a regular Greyhound bus on a Dick Clark Cavalcade of Stars tour, where all the acts are sitting in a seat. You can't sleep. There's no bunks or anything. That luxury stuff didn't start till way later on,
I'm glad I missed the Greyhound bus era. So now that we're talking 1960, well, you guys started in 59, 58, 59, 60. Here we are, 2020. And you just finished an album with Alice Cooper, so you're still pounding the living shit out of those drums.
Yeah, we did 2 new records last year with Alice. He wanted to come back to Detroit and get his Detroit roots,
Sure.
And I played drums on his Welcome to My Nightmare on a few tracks, and he figured he wanted to get back into that groove. And so Bob Ezrin called and put a group together with a bunch of Detroit players, we did an EP called Breadcrumbs. Mark Farner was on that, and Wayne Kramer, and Jared Polonic, my young guitar player, and Paul Randolph playing bass. And that turned out so well and sold out that Alice decided he wanted to come back and do a full album. So we did that last October 2019 for a week and a half. And then, it was supposed to come out. Well, Alice had 100 shows he was doing. He was doing 5 months in Europe with the Vampires with Johnny Depp and that. He told me when he was in Sweden, he goes, P, I'm standing on the stage. I was stage right. I was singing. Johnny Depp's on stage left. There's 8,000 beautiful girls in front of him. He said, I walked over there and started singing, and Johnny happened to go over to the right side of the stage. Next thing I know, the 8,000 girls went from the left side all the way to the right side of the stage.
Wow. Hey, Ted and Johnny, I found a little clip that's a treat for the audience. This was from like 11 years ago. Herbert, play a little bit of this, and we'll see Johnny and Ted react.
Of the Amboy Dukes that we got back for a Detroit Music Award. And that was just one of many times that I've just been so inspired and honored and humbled to be able to share the stage with some of those classic Detroit songs that Johnny laid such an imprint on. That was a lot of fun. Old John Brake kind of lost the meter on that version of that song that night, but we still had a good time.
Yeah, I always had a good time at John's house when he was on the west side there, and the Faces would come over, and hang out all night and jam for 2 or 3 days,
Yep.
bringing up stories of the past. But speaking of when we started, we also really, before even Wall Lake Casino now, we actually started at the Village.
Sure, on Woodward on Michigan
on Woodward
Avenue.
And that place where Gabe Glantz was so cheap he wouldn't turn the heat on. He waited till everybody got in. The body heat would warm up the place. And everybody would play, and then they had Daryl who danced and to a conga player, Tommy, and everybody'd sit there smoking, flicking cigarette butts on the stage and stuff, Oh, and you think, what is this? This isn't show business,
And then there was the Dex Card tours with all the teen nightclubs, the Shindig, the Hullabaloo, the Fifth Dimension in Ann Arbor. But by the time we started rocking in the Amboy Dukes, I brought them back to Detroit from Chicago, where my dad got transferred. By the time we came back, Mitch Ryder, the Detroit Wheels were the cat's ass with Jenny Take a Ride, Devil with the Blue Best, Sock It To Me. At that point, you guys were already in the stratosphere of success. You were not part of that MC5, Dick Wagner and the Frost, Bob Seger, the Amboy Dukes. You were like gone global by then, weren't you?
Yeah. I mean, we were one of the first bands out of Detroit that started having hit records, and that would probably be from the early 60s to mid 60s before the hippy dippy thing started happening, and all the bands and Cream or Hendrix and that stuff came out, we were playing on all these shows, Murray the K at the Brooklyn Fox.
Sure.
With, there'd be Joe Tex and his big band would be the headliner, and there'd be like 10 acts on the show. You only play 3 songs, 3 hits. You had 15 minutes. And, you just soak and wet and sweat, and then you got it. So with a show, the first show in the morning was 10 o'clock, and then there was a 12 o'clock, a 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and a 10 o'clock. Every day for 2 weeks. And it was unbelievable. You'd be playing with the Raspberries. I'm trying to think of all the names that play. Everybody played.
The Rascals, yeah.
The Rascals played. A lot of singers in the beginning with a house orchestra and stuff like that. It was crazy. It's just that's how all those shows were. It wasn't like a band would set up. That stuff like Cobo Hall didn't exist. None of those 2-band concerts, 1-band concerts. None of that. Everybody was playing the old like Fox Theaters, and you'd be playing with Spencer Davis Group. You'd be playing with Leslie West and Mountain, stuff like that. Or the Vagrants.
That was my era, man. I mean, I was in the eye of the storm at that point. And I got to tell you, I think that we were so enthusiastic about playing the music that we love to play, and then we got lucky, especially in your guys' situation. You had these hit records, these landmark hit songs. And instead of continuing cultivating your musical connection with the band by playing, the Amboy Dukes do four 1-hour shows at the Fillmore East, and then we do 4 shows at the at the Crow's Nest East, the Crow's Nest West, we up at Mount Holly, all over. We play forever. So we really cultivated. But you guys, because the people in charge went, you get to do your hit records and that's it. That's kind of anti-musical cultivation, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we used to tell our parents, we're going on tour. Where are you going? We're going to the east side of Detroit to the west side.
Well, I got to tell you, I wouldn't trade any of that for anything. And yeah, there were scoundrels and rip-off bastards back then, whether it's a producer who loved this band and goes, I love the band so much, I want to change all this stuff and play this kind of song. And those kind of manipulations really ruined a lot of band. They tried to play that with me with the Amboy Dukes and play pop music because we had a hit record with Journey to the Center of Mind. But you guys, you guys were throwing a grenade when they wanted to bring and turn Mitch into a James Brown with a backup band. So there was a lot of mistakes made, but here it is all these years later. Whenever you play, you look like you're having the time of your life. That's really the essence of it, isn't it? That if you're not having fun, you shouldn't even be doing this stuff.
When we finally moved to New York, and we all moved to just us, our parents were worried about us. I was the baby of the band. I was like 15, 16, and I had to leave.
Crazy.
And I was the baby, and we just took a train ride from Windsor all the way to New York City, and we had like 36 boxes of clothes wrapped. We'd never been on the road, so we had our all the family, our parents. We even brought our parakeet to the train station to see us off, not knowing anything about the road.
Sure.
Like you're going to take one suitcase, throw it over in the overhead, and let's go. But back then, we're going to New York, and we're so excited we couldn't sleep all night on the train following the St. Lawrence Seaway. Then it got into Times Square. We had to have 6, 7 cabs take all the stuff to Bob Crew's office at the 61st and Broadway, which Atlantic Records, Ahmet Ertegun was on the 2nd floor, and Shadow Morton was on the 7th floor, who produced the Shangri-Las and stuff. So the guy had us take it all up the freight elevator, and we're putting it in Bob Crew's office after we just got out of 5 or 7 cabs. And Bob comes in there and he goes, "What are you guys doing?" We're bringing all our stuff. He goes, "Have you checked into the hotel yet?" We said, "No." He goes, "Go to the hotel first." And so we had to take all the stuff back, get 7 cabs, go down to 71st and Broadway, and, bring all the stuff in there. And we said, "We have a room here." They said, "You don't have a room." And we said, "Yeah, Bob Crew has a room first." The guy's looking through the paper. "No, I don't see anything." Earl said, "It's the one for $500 a month." The guy goes, "Oh, yeah, here it is right here." So here we are in one room. There's 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, no kitchen, and just a big front room, and it was a learning experience,
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because I was thrust into that same thing with the Amboy Dukes. We went to New York in '67 and recorded our first album, and just to go to New York City and be tossed back and forth with the cabs and the trains and the hotels, and whether you're registered or not, you got to share a room and you don't know where to eat. You learned about the stage delicatessen. You learned to get matzo ball soup and a pastrami sandwich. It was all uncharted territory, and it was a shame because we had no idea how to handle that stuff.
You could go to Carmel's down the corner at meatloaf in a drawer for $1.03. That was meatloaf, mashed potatoes, corn, a slice of bread with butter, and a dessert. And
Hallelujah!
They pull it out of a metal tray, they had heated up. So, but when you play in New York, we were playing 4 one-hour sets a night.
Yep. 6
days a week, one night off with another band from 9 o'clock till 4 in the morning. 4 one-hour sets a night. And it was like for $105 a man. And you had to eat dinner and stuff and all your breakfast out of that money, And then for our nights off, we'd go watch other bands. We'd go watch the Young Rascals, or we go across the street and we watch Blues Project with Steve Katz and Al Cooper and stuff, It was a great learning experience. We had every museum in the world to us. We didn't go to any museum. We just watched bands. We were like a sponge soaking up everything.
Sure. Was there a Steve Paul scene yet at that point?
Oh, who?
The club called Steve Paul's Scene, where
that came later. That came later after we split up. That was in the later '60s. And
that's right.
When I was playing with Edgar Winter, and I was staying in New York at Edgar's house, Steve had the scene open up, and we'd go there, and I'd run into Willie and them from, you know, the Chambers Brothers and Hendrix. You know, that was the scene back then. Out of all those earlier clubs, Trudy Hellers and the Blues, the Eighth Wonder, the Metropole, Ondines. You know, so many.
Unganos. We played Unganos. You ever play Unganos?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I think
we played a lot of gigs at the Fillmore East and the Fillmore West with the Chambers Brothers and Blood, Sweat, and Tears and the Rascals. In fact, when the Rascals toured the Midwest, they would hire the Amboy Dukes because we had the biggest PA system, which consisted of 12 dual showmans through 12 dual showman bottoms, 12 dual showman heads into a Shure mixer.
Yeah, you know, we didn't know what to do with ourselves at the time. So, you know, we were the first ones that had the amps with vibrato on it, right? And we put it in the window, in our apartment window. We were on the 6th floor, and there's another apartment building behind us, you know, and their windows were all open. And we put a mic in there, and we started saying with the vibrato on, and all the light, the windows were closing and the lights were going off, you know.
Well, Johnny, here it is, 2020. I can't thank you enough for sharing your historical Motor City Connection stories with us. But now what are you doing? I mean, after we lost the whole tour, everybody lost their tour in 2020. It's just been the ugliest year of our lives, I think. What have you been doing in Detroit? Are you still playing all the time, even under these conditions?
No, that all, you know, I'm still working, writing tunes. I'm working on my own record, my own album. And it's called Johnny B. in the Murder Hornets. And it's on Funky D Records, produced by Tino Gross. We have 13 or 14 songs all ready to go, except for putting the girl background singers on. And then the pandemic hit.
Oh, boy.
Then NPR gave us this new TV show, 6 Degrees of Tino G. And we did the pilot test, and they gave us 10 more episodes. And then the pandemic. So nobody has been able to do anything. So I've been home painting, I've been home writing songs and going crazy. You know, it's actually like a very thin line. You're almost on the line of madness, you know?
Yeah. Well, I crossed that line a long time ago, and I ain't going back.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny, I can't thank you enough, and it's been an honor to know you all these years. I mean, you were such a powerful inspiration. Of course, everybody knows that Jimmy McCarty playing that Birdland through a Fender twin reverb amp at the Wall Day Casino is why I play a Gibson Birdland through a Fender twin amp. And I tried to emulate the overall throttle that you guys created with Joe and with Earl and Mitch and with Jimmy.
Did Jimmy ever tell you about that when he had that old guitar and we were playing in West Virginia, backing up all the bands, and Chuck Berry was the headliner. And the promoter was going crazy because it was sold out. We backed up the Orleans, Johnny Tilliston, you know, just a one rehearsal in the afternoon after we drove through a wall of a building on the way down from New York, got that squared away, got a rent-a-car and continued on. And the promoter was going crazy. Where's Chuck Berry? He's not here yet. He's not here yet. And all the acts have played, and they're waiting for Chuck Berry. And the promoter was out of his mind. And finally, Chuck Berry showed up with no guitar. He just says, okay. And, you know, we kind of knew Chuck's stuff because we played a lot of it ourselves. But Chuck said, who's a drummer? And I said, I am. He goes, okay, you just watch my right foot. And he had a big right foot, man. It's probably a 16 Brogan shoe. You know, he goes, when I hit the floor, you stop. Okay. And then Jim gave him his guitar. And he went, he turned the whole show into about Jim's guitar.
Well, because at that point, Jimmy went from a Birdland, he went from a Gibson Birdland to a country gentleman Gretsch, because George Harrison was playing the Gretsch, and the Gretsch has so many knobs that are so different. That
was a guitar than Jim had. It's the Gretsch, and he gave the Gretsch to Chuck Berry, and Chuck kept looking at the audience and goes, this is like, I feel like I'm flying in a spaceship. Look at all these knobs. Look at all these buttons, you know? Then we'd launch into Johnny Be Good and something, and then he'd say something else about the guitar. Yeah, it was incredible. Yeah. Chuck was great.
Those are great memories. You know, I played bass guitar for Chuck and Bo Diddley in 1969 for a little while, so I've been to the mountaintop of that. Well, Johnny, listen, man, God bless you. Thank you for all the powerful music and the imprint of the sonic bombast that you and your team has always presented. I'm proud to be a part of that in the Motor City. And I think we have a future together. Once this Chinese attack simmers down, I think we ought to get back in the studio and make some music together.
I believe so. Thank you for the kind words. I can't wait. It's time to rev up the engine again.
Hallelujah, brother. Well, Johnny B, Godspeed. Give the whole, who's playing with you right now? Because you always surround yourself with killer virtuosos. Who's playing with Johnny B these days?
Well, let's see. I've been playing. Garrett Balanik is the lead guitar player, and he's a young kid, but he's really good. Bob Ezrin has used him on both Alice albums, and along with Wayne Kramer. Mike Marshall's been playing bass, and he's a long-time bass player in Detroit that's played with everybody, And Jimmy Bones is playing keyboards, and I'm singing. I'm singing from the drums, just like Levon Hell.
No kid, good for you.
He said, why don't you got so many songs, you write so many songs, just do your own solo album. Just do that. So that's what we've been working on, And right now, with the pandemic, that's it. I'm working on new vaccines and stuff, I figure that's the only way something's going to happen.
I got a song that's titled, I'm from the government and I have a needle for you. Bang. Anyhow, Johnny B, you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the fall. A happy Thanksgiving to you every day. And keep that right foot on fire, my friend. And I'm going to keep after you because when I get back to Detroit after the winter hunting season, I'd love to connect with you again, man.
God bless, Dad. Happy Thanksgiving to you and the family. And enjoy a Thanksgiving dinner. And, when you get time, come up to Detroit, pack that suitcase, come on up and spend a few days.
I was in Michigan at our Concord Swamp, August, September, October, right up until last Friday. I just got back to Texas. So I'm in Michigan every year. That's where we usually wrap up the tour at Pine Knob in late August. And then I stay in Michigan for the deer season, but I'm back in Texas now. But I'm coming back to Detroit. I'm still the Motor City Madman. There's not
still waiting for that phone call for catching that big fish, baby. I bring them hula poppers out to the lake, man, and shake them fish up a little bit, brother.
Come on, we got some slabs with your name on it, Badanjek.
Righty.
God bless you, man.
God bless you, Johnny. Thank you so much.
Much love.
All right. Much love. All right. Well, Ted.
A pillar.
Another amazing guest. Got a lot of people in the chat rooms who are we're all starting to wish each other a happy Thanksgiving. And as you can imagine, our Campfire audience, they're all saying, hey, going to spend time with family and friends and love you. A lot of Thanksgiving well wishes out there. And, this is, it's going to be interesting because our fans, I think, probably view Thanksgiving a little bit differently than some other people. And we're going to be living it up, I imagine.
Well, I would like to think that the most important factor of the American spirit is certainly we are the masters of love and affection and kindness and generosity and cockiness and humor. But I think the most important power of the American spirit is defiance. When we hear something stupid, when we hear something immoral, when we hear something unethical and tyrannical, we defy it. We have these flags. Now, these aren't official on my website yet, but I have flown flags over my sacred hunting grounds in Michigan and in Texas. And even though the Michigan flags won't be available, this is the famous Texas come and take it flag. And if people want one of these, I just signed a couple dozen of them for Tim and Ashley. Write this down. You can go to Old West Antiques at yahoo.com. Old West Antiques at yahoo.com. You can have a personally autographed Ted Nugent come and take it. And at this point in time, these will be available on my website soon, but at Old West Antiques at yahoo.com, you can actually get them right now. And even though it's a historical landmark of defiance against tyranny and punks coming to take away our freedom from Mexico back in those days, that kind of evil still exists. And I'd like to think that when a Joe Biden declares his new anti-Constitution, oath-violating Second Amendment atrocity, where if you want to find out what he stands for, it'll break your heart because many heroes have died to protect the right to keep and bear arms. And old Joe Biden thinks he's going to eliminate that Second Amendment. So I would like to think that if ever there was a time where this flag was more appropriate, it would be right now. And even though the flag unto itself is a powerful statement, when you got my signature on it, it's even more powerful.
It's even more amazing. So, Ted, a lot of people are going to be hearing the term gaslighting, and it's surprising to me how few people actually know what it means. But I just wanted to do a little Spirit Campfire 101 on gaslighting really quick. So here's an article that was written in 2017, and as you guys are sort of wondering whether or not what you're being told is true or what's false or whatever, just keep this in mind. Ted, gaslighting is you are told blatant lies. Then the people who tell you this, they deny they ever said it, even though you have proof that they said it. Then they use what is near and dear to you as ammunition. They wear you down over time. They take their actions do not match their words. They throw in positive reinforcement to confuse you. They know confusion weakens people. They project. They try to align people against you. Then, last but not least, they tell you you're crazy.
And then it's a conspiracy theory. Nobody can be that crazy to actually want to take away your guns, even though they come right out and say it. And then they say, they didn't say it.
I didn't say it. So, all right, so enough of that. Listen, you got your guitar in your hand. I want everyone, and I mean everyone, to ping somebody right now. We are going to hear Ted Nugent play something very special for us because we have not heard a lot of music coming out of that amp this hour. And so, Ted, take it away. Everybody's dying for something.
I think with Thanksgiving and the Come Take It flag. Happy Thanksgiving every day, everybody. God bless the Spirit Campfire. Make sure the campfire you share with your family and friends is a Spirit Campfire. And here it is,
Amen.
November 23. And Thanksgiving is coming up in just a few days. Embrace your family like never before. We need to have that family connection. Discuss the things that you're going to do together. Make plans to spend meaningful intimate time together. A lot of people, hey, how you doing? Okay, thanks, having a good day. No. Stop. And remember who's saying this. Slow down. I stop every time I cross a room where I can either see, or sense, or smell Shemaine. I find her, I hug her, and I kiss her.
Yes.
If my brothers and sisters, my sons and daughters, my grandkids were here, I would do the same thing. John, I would probably do the same thing with you. Because,
I do.
You know, there was a song, What the World Needs Now is Love, Sweet Love. Who did that? Famous old song.
Love, sweet love.
Now, you got to admit, there's some really stupid stuff out there, some real abuse of power, some real mean-spiritedness out there. But I think if we who know good over evil, if we maximize our connection with family, friends, even just strangers. Remember last year on the Campfire, I was saying, I guess it was this year because we've only done it 1 year, but it seemed like over a year ago. I said, wave to people. And most of the time they'll smile and wave back and they'll feel good. Some people will snarl. Why they do that, I don't know. It's just a nice wave and a smile and people get angry.
All right. It depends on what state you're in, right? If you're in California, people get mad at you. You're in Georgia or Florida or Texas, people are like, what's up?
Yeah, nice. So the more positive power we can exude and project and deliver, I think it will metastasize. I think it will spread. I think it's contagious. And Thanksgiving, if you want to have a few people over, if you want to have a lot of people over, I think that is your and your alone decision. I don't think anybody has any evidence that says you're going to go to jail if you have more than 4 people or whatever their arbitrary, punitive, capricious decree might
10.
be. Yeah,
hey, Ted.
Thanksgiving, and we're going to have backstrap. We're going to have some turkey. We're having all the goodies, the dressing and the cranberries and the beans with the onions on top of it. And we're going to have all that slop, and I'm going to eat like an absolute pig, and then I'm going deer hunting. So I have my priorities down.
That's right. All right, everybody, listen. What the World Needs Now is Love, Sweet Love is by Diane Warwick.
Yes.
Yeah, so go check it out. Everybody, I'm going to enjoy Thanksgiving with my family, and I hope you do the same. Honestly, when we all have to kind of like make decisions of what we're doing with our time. You know what? My dad passed away a couple of years ago, right around Thanksgiving, and you never know what this year or next year holds. So hold your loved ones very close to you because you never know. This could be the last Thanksgiving you have or someone else has, so seize the day.
I got big plans. So, John, happy Thanksgiving to you and Herbert and to Courtney, and happy Thanksgiving to Linda and Doug and my sons and daughters, grandkids, and my neighbors, my hunting buddies, and Jim and Paul, and my beautiful wife, Shemaine, and happy Sadie and Coco, and everybody out there, all my friends. We're going to have Calvin and his beautiful daughter, Caroline, here for a big Thanksgiving turkey. Get down there. We're going deer hunting. So, John, this has been wonderful. We'll have a few more. I will not see you on Thanksgiving Day.
No.
Start now that I've moved back into Texas, we will start doing the Spirit Campfire with John Brankus, the Physics of Spirituality, every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
That's right.
With Patriot Mobile at our side.
Patriot Mobile. Everybody go to patriotmobile.com/Ted. Monday, I'm very excited because one of my best friends in the world is going to be
I hear that.
Guest.
I can't wait.
Honestly, and you all better hold on to yourself. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but honestly, when I tell you you're going to laugh your ass off, it's going to be the best Spirit Campfire of all time. Awesome. I'm virtually guaranteeing it.
You're a good man. All right, John Brankus. Right. Everybody, God bless, Godspeed, live it up, rock and roll like you mean it, and go to Old West Antiques at yahoo.com. They've got, signed a couple hundred arrows. It's not easy to sign arrows. People were asking for autographed arrows, so I autographed some arrows, and I autographed the Come and Take It flags. This is a preview for the official ones that are coming on my website, but right now you can get that kind of stuff at Old West Antiques at yahoo.com. Brankus, live it up like you mean it. Adios, amigo. Live it up.
Adios, amigos. Say it.